Check one. Microphone. Check the microphone just for fun. Make sure it works. Background music too loud compared to my own voice. If I get loud, yeah, that looks reasonable, I think. I think that's a reasonable. Oh, that's too close. Check microphone. All right, turn this back up slightly, and then I'll get louder as I talk into it. What time is it? All right, it's already 3 after. Suddenly feels too warm in this room. So where's my pen? And I just have to remember how to draw these characters. Feels like it's been 1,000 years. Ripley. Hey, sweetest angel. I think we're ready to go. I think I'm ready to go. Can I get some drawing done over here? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Could you just play the intro? Just play the intro titles and everything will be... Ripley? Are you even paying attention to me? Why are you staring at me so dead-eyed? Meow. 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 Alright, that's fine. That's fine. Just hit the play button anyway, and we'll begin. We'll begin. That guy still works back there. Is he ever going to be on a different screen? It seems like he's just working on that same shot forever. You're right. You get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. I pay that guy nothing. Why would he do anything? Play the intro. And once again, for some reason, that did not cross dissolve like it was supposed to. This was a hard cut. Hey, Miles! I'm gonna take a break from the other book and work on the other book today and just do a comic strip that I realized I still had written on a post-it note over here, so I don't have to try and remember it. I'm gonna go to these settings real quick. Okay, this one's deleted. Oh, that's why. I see what I did. All right, real easy fix. And let us delete it. All right, I guess I'll have to pick one. And let's go to that. Now, if I go to the intro, hey, it's the intro again. Do, and then it cross dissolved. Okay. Fixed. Anyway, since last Tuesday, I've just been reworking the room. Put up some new lights. For some reason, the way the light comes through the room now, I put up some blackout curtains behind these curtains because one of the things that I did was in the storage closet. There was this old dresser of drawers that like came with the apartment, and it just made no room. It made very little to no room in that closet to get around. At a certain point, I was like, oh, if I put some stop motion stuff on this will be great because there's no lights in here. So whatever lighting I set up to do stop motion, it won't be affected. But I don't want to spend time jammed up in a little storage closet, and every time I had to move anything while there's stuff going on in the apartment, it all gets jammed up in there. So one of the things in reworking this little room for maximum creativity I dragged that dresser out and put it right here, and I moved my shelf, got all my He-Mans put back on the shelf, and I don't know if I mentioned, but like at Christmas time, I went over to the secondhand pawn shop store. That it has new stuff, it has old stuff. But one of the things that were hanging on the wall one day was a pair of size, like Raphael style size. And I was fully on my way out, and the guy was like, "Anything I can help you with?" I was like, "No, not really." I was like, "I do need to know. I do kind of need to know how much does size cost?" And I fully expected him to say something like $120, maybe even $200, something ridiculous that I'm just like, I will never ever pay that, so it's fine. Tell me a crazy number so I can be on my way and not think, should I get a pair of size? And no, the answer is no, I shouldn't. I don't need them. What am I going to do with them? They're surprisingly heavy, so you can't just be like, I'm just going to play with these. Like, no. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like 40 some dollars, and I'm like, each? And he was like, no, for both. I'm like, well, I think I need to get them then. I think I'm gonna have to buy those before I go, and I did, and I put them under my Christmas tree, and then I went home to my mom's house, and they just sat in the box forever until like Saturday or Sunday. I finally set everything up. Like I said, I took down the lights that were going up and down on the side here. Put up some little LED lights. It looks so much more majestic in person. The way the lighting is here, it doesn't quite read as well as I would like it to. But it's I don't know. It seems a little less intrusive than it did before. Everything seems a little more even. Let me see if I can give you a little tour of the room. I know I can't do it with this camera. If I move it, it will disconnect. But I have the other camera set up somewhere here. Space Goonie. Goonie from space. Space Looney. Looney Tunes. Basketball. So we go to this camera, which doesn't look as good as this one, but still looks decent. It doesn't have all the same settings. So if let's just move this down here. So this is the normal view. And then if we move immediately to the right over here, it's hard to see because of the way the lighting is. But I guess I could can I turn this without causing a pile of trouble? And the answer seems to be no-ish. So yeah, right over here, I got Ted up on the wall. There's Skeletor and the chair's been new for a while. I believe we had a new chair discussion when we talked about how fancy this chair was. So it's hard to see there, but this is like a camera arm, and that's a mic stand that's attached to, and that's a bunch of weights to hold it down so it doesn't shake. So yeah, I tried my hardest between the weekend and even yesterday to work on this. But I just couldn't. I just couldn't physically do it anymore. And then we have the glorious shelf of fun. So, you know, there's a bunch of He-Mans up there. He-Man's there. The Nintendo PlayStation stuff there. Art supplies, art supplies, art supplies. And then if we go around the room a little bit, then there's the size, the new lights. I can't quite. The emergency phone. Let's try it with my other hand. And the footstool. It's hard to see, but then there's a shelf of turtles on one side and a shelf of like movie characters on the other side. And that's way too close on my face. Let's go back to the main camera. Look how much better that looks. Yay! So yeah, so now I'm kind of more set up to do a weekly Skeletor thing. I bought some new stop motion software yesterday, Sunday. Just barely tried it out, was messing around with it yesterday and the day before. It seems great, it seems perfect. It's way too expensive, especially compared to the software that I was using, which was like, I don't know, $9 or maybe $19. And that took me a good, like, 3 months to convince myself, yeah, I'll just get this. I seem to do stop motion all the time. Let me get the full version of this program. But one of the things it doesn't allow me to do is to drop in my audio and scrub through it. So if I do want to do something with audio, for the most part, I've got to put the audio up on my screen, have it in like GarageBand or whatever, and actually physically look at like what frame am I on. Alright, he's doing an sound, so his mouth opens at frame 35, and then do it over there. And then hopefully it matches up, because usually the audio is at 30 frames per second, and I do my stop motion at 24 frames a second. So it's still not quite perfect, and ideally I want to be able to just have the audio there and scrub back and forth through it. So I broke down, I paid the money, and I got the like professional stop motion software, not just the random apps that I've been getting, because it has all the things. And I didn't really even animate anything. I just moved Skeletor's head around. I moved Jason Voorhees' head around before they were all stuck down and ready to go. And I have to say, that quick little test of like 8 frames, I'm like, this looks real smooth. Why does this look so smooth? Why does this look just infinitely better? And I mean, part of it is I'm using, a crazy expensive camera that's meant for taking cool pictures, as opposed to my phone mounted on a bunch of random stuff, and the audio's there. So I still haven't really sat down to make anything with it yet, because yeah, by the time I actually like watched the tutorials and physically moved everything into its space, I've just been beyond exhausted. But like the hallway, there's still some like pictures that are just on the floor next to where they could go, and I still have like these 2 mannequin torsos, like half torsos, that I picked up for like $10 each a long time ago, thinking, oh, these will be great to paint on and have as like some kind of art piece, and they just take up all of the space in the world in the storage closet as well. So I'm like, if I can get these out of the closet and just up on the wall somewhere, that'll be great. So I'll just throw some paint on these. Still didn't do that yet, but everything is so much more organized than it was 1 week ago. It's been 1 week since we streamed some stuff, and it's just an exhausting week. But still, let's do some fun stuff today. And this Friday, maybe, I'm probably not supposed to say things, but I'm going to take over the Streamlabs Twitch channel / YouTube channel again on Friday, but you'll have to tune in to find out what I'm going to do over there. Alright, let's make this brush a little smaller, and let's go to a drawing screen. Yeah, just the drawing screen, Ripley, the drawing screen. This one? Is this the right screen? No, this is B. Hey, Macarena. Hey, what you doing over there, Macarena? Let me tell you all about my friend Macarena. Hey, what's in this cup, Macarena? It's the Macarena brand coffee. Is that good? Is that good? What's going on over here? There you go. That's your drawing screen. Zoomed in a little far. Let me zoom out a little bit so people can see. Over here, like Zuby Conderosa. That's not the guy's name, but you're referencing somebody nobody will know about because you were listening to old podcasts ridiculously, and it doesn't matter. Weirdest thing ever. I mean, it's not weird because it's just, I have to assume it's how the algorithm works, but I listened to new episode of Comedy Bang Bang, and I was like working, drawing, whatever I was doing, and then just randomly was like, just play whatever, I don't care, like let's just drift back into the Comedy Bang Bang annals and listen to something old, because everything new is upsetting. And first thing that came up was something about how, like, oh, Will Smith is just the greatest guy. He's just like the nicest guy in the world. I love Will Smith. Like, that's weird. Just this whole diatribe about Will Smith. And then another one about how Scott, the host, and this other guy, Langston Kerman, who was a guest, how they were both joke writers for the Academy Awards one year. Specifically, how they were writing jokes for Chris Rock, I think, was the host that year. And I was like, this is so insane. Like, all of this is about the stuff that, like, just happened just now, but yet it's, like, 4 years old. And it's like, all right, that's fine, whatever. And then flips over to the next podcast, and that one is randomly talking about how somebody's talking about how Chris Rock basically, like, talks too much, and sometimes he needs to learn how to shut his mouth or whatever. And just like, what is going on? What? Well, that's insane. Well, that's both of those episodes. There's no way another one's going to be the same. And then it flipped over to another one where I forget what the third thing was, but it was, I believe, another thing about Will Smith, where I'm just like, what is happening? And then another one where it was about the Academy Awards again, but like none of it was present day stuff. It was all several years old, and it was very bizarre. But of course, in the algorithmic zeitgeist that we live in, where we mention stuff, and then later that day we go home and it was like, hey, I was just talking with Words in person to Space Goody about, I don't know, the Snorks. And then I got home and I opened up my phone, and my phone was like, hey, what you probably want to buy is this commemorative Snorks plate that the Royal Dalton figurine thing is selling. It's just like, what? What? Why? In what world would anybody be suggesting some commemorative Snorks, anything at all? And I don't know why Snorks was my reference. But in my lexicon, in my own personal lexicon of outdated references, definitely Snorks is always up there. It was one of those shows I always wanted to watch, but I didn't have cable, so I only ever really saw it like maybe 2-3 episodes, if I even saw a whole episode. I remember having a lot of questions and never ever going back. To see what it was actually about. I mean, everything is about the same thing back in those days, or even nowadays. Every cartoon was the same. Here are our characters. This is their weird quirk. They're under the sea. Oh, they're Smurfs. They live in the walls. They're in the clouds. And then we go through the same episodic adventures as every other 80s, 90s cartoon show goes through. A show that I want to watch, that I feel like I should watch, but I started to watch and it still kind of felt too depressing. But it was like, it's genius. It's a genius show. Hey, Amanda. I don't even know what it's called. It's like Saturday morning cartoon TV fun time explosion. Created and like starring the guy from Saturday Night Live with the wavy hair, whose name completely escapes me right now. But I started watching one where it's basically like they have, it's kind of Robot Chicken-ish, where it kind of cuts between things that would be on Saturday morning in the 80s, 90s. And hi, Tatum. and yeah, it was kind of like the first episode, I assume is what it was. The main cartoon they kept cutting back to was like Denver the Last Dinosaur, except it was like, hey, what if life was hard for Denver the Last Dinosaur, and it was more like kind of adult themes and whatnot. And it was really funny. I just wasn't quite in the mood for it. Or slash, it's yet another one of those shows where I'm like, yes, Kyle Mooney, that's exactly. It's a genius show that I think I have a hard time watching things that inspire me, because I'm like, oh, I should just be making something instead of watching this thing that makes me feel like I should make something. But if I can move my phone here, actually, dare I? Let's try this. Gonna click on this. Okay, I got my internet doing too many things right now, so this is a lot more difficult than I intend. Can I drag this to here? Looks like it's working. There we go. So I'm gonna go over to the drawing screen. So literally, what was it? Yeah, about 5 minutes before the stream, Amanda's little girl. Why can't I get this in the right place? Tatum wanted to send me a picture that she drew. I don't know who this lady is, but she's super hot. So yeah, this is, I'm gonna call it some fan art from Tatum. Even actually, like, look at the detail. Like, she was, got it from a picture, but I mean, she's just a little kid. When I was her age, I did a square with a circle on top of it, and then some lines sticking out the side, and then another line, and that line was a fishing rod or a baseball, and this is like, I mean, again, like, so many eyelashes, all the eyelashes in the world. That's amazing, and then just cleavage for days. Amazing work. Great job, Tatum. Keep them coming. Anyway, back to me drawing stuff. It's not that hard to get on YouTube, Tatum. But sometimes it's real easy. To impress some children, whereas other children are impossible to impress. But I don't know, like I said before, I was impressed one day when I was sitting there whilst Tatum and Amanda were in the bathroom. Amanda's other kid, Nash, they're twins. Anyway, they're in the bathroom, so Nash is just telling me stuff, and I'm telling him about my job, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I draw stuff for these streamer kids, and I was like, I don't know, there's this one kid, he's really nice, and Nash knew who he was. He was like, oh wow, like, you do stuff for that guy? Like, yeah, I do. Like, this is amazing. Like, what a small world. I mean, obviously, like, this kid already has, like, millions of followers and stuff. But to be able to say, like, hey, I've talked to that guy. Of course, I also get very excited when Taron Killam from Saturday Night Live, or formerly Saturday Night Live, he's producing TV shows and movies and stuff now. But because I did stuff for his live stream, he like followed me back, on Instagram. So every once in a while, when I'm scrolling through who's looking at my stories, there'll be a little blue check mark of just like somebody who's verified, and it's Taran Killam, and just like, I think he looked at my story. That's bananas. That's just bananas. But sadly, and no offense to Mr. Killam, that's not going to impress Tatum or Nash. They don't know who that is. No reason to take offense to that, because they know who I am. And end of list. Everybody else that they know of, I'm pretty sure, is a puppy character of some kind. And not a cat character? They don't spend all of their days watching stuff about cats that do things? I mean, I'm over here, look at my little hat. No. They watch, like, dogs that, like, rescue people that are heroes and stuff. And you're not that. You're not any kind of hero. Oh, I think I'm a hero to Betty. I mean, did I not mention this little hat? I mean, I'm over here, I'm making fun of you. You know, I think that making you feel bad is A, full-time job, and B, something that deserves some sort of hero's welcome. Whenever I come to the door, people should cheer, yay, you did it again. You're the greatest American hero ever. You're not American. You're not a hero. You're not even littlest hobo level of anything. Super insulted. Wicked super insulted over here. Don't care. Don't care. Alright, what is Milo doing? What's his business? Gotta give him some business over here. Business, of course, being something that an actor does while they're doing their scenes, i.e. Brad Pitt always eating an apple, or I don't know, people with a coffee, etc. He's already got a coffee in the animation in the foreground, so I always just put a phone in their hand. Seems like the most reasonable thing to do. Chips? Alright, chips it is. You sold me, Tatum. You sold me. Gonna be eating some chips. Alright, and then over here... Not gonna lie, I didn't plan this shot out very well. Everything should be fine. The text will make it all read. I've already written the text. I'll make that visible later. Google a picture of this person real quick. I want it to exactly look like him. Alright, that's a rough sketch. Let's the progress bar save for a half hour, and then we'll clean it up. Pretty quick, it's only 7:38. We're gonna be doing this for 38 minutes. Definitely finish this one and actually post it. I was looking at my file that is this book. There's a lot more pages done than I thought I had, and B, a lot more pages that are just the drawings that I never finished with the text, or that I didn't clean up. One of these days I'll finish those and play a good old-fashioned game of what was this comic strip even about? It's probably about me. I mean, if worst comes to worst and it's not about me, just make it about me, and then I mean, you know, it's a win-win for everybody. You don't have to think too hard about it, and you know, just make sure in the end, I am the hero, or at least I come out on top. I mean, that's the main rule. That's the main rule that I live by, is make sure that I come out on top. Oh my god, that little me face almost went right in my cup. That would have been, just probably delicious, but also a little bit disconcerting to like drink a fresh hot mug of yourself. That's a little bit, you know, that's not cool. Or is it the coolest? It's not either, I don't think. If the things that I thought about you were said out loud, oh, the feelings that would be hurt. Oh, God. Would I ever just love to trample your feelings? Hooked on a feeling, dancing on the feeling. That's definitely not the song, and I'm pretty sure it's at least two different songs, and just don't. Maybe it's more than a feeling. That's what it was. Anyway, I don't remember every song that plays on those TV commercials of compilation of the 70s, 80s, and today. That's fine. Let's finish drawing this thing. So speaking of what this comic strip will eventually be about, I don't know what I was watching or listening to today that pointed out the fact that Vincent Diesel was paid $50 million to do the Groot voice. I think it's for just for the two Guardians movies, I believe, is what it was counting for. But still, the fact that, you know, that job, if we want to call it that, would have consisted of maybe an hour of his time. Maybe. Like, let's say, you know, to be fully realistic, like, even if we go 5 hours, 8 hours of his time. For 8 hours, he's got to drive to the recording studio, I'm sure. Meet with people. Hey, let us get pictures. Let's talk to you. There's a lot of just, like, Vin Dieseling around for a little bit. So, you know, we'll factor in some of that time. And then the driving home, stopping to eat, getting notes or whatever, which don't matter at all. Which just don't matter at all. So, even if it was based on a full, like, 8-hour day, there would have been, at most, 1 hour, if not 35 minutes, of him doing, you know, there's only so many variations of I Am Groot that you need, slash I'm sure they did 75 more than they needed of just like, I am Groot. 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 And just keep saying it as many ways as humanly possible. And I'm sure that he did. And then still, like, here's $50 million. And yes, those movies made a ton of money. But I had to know, I had to look up, and I couldn't quite get a straight answer on it. But it just says, oh, well, I tried to look up how much money did Bradley Cooper get for voicing Rocket Raccoon, which requires actual dialogue, actual acting, putting actual effort into stuff. For way more than 1 day worth of work. And it said for Rocket Raccoon, I don't know if this is for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe that he's in, like in the several movies, or if it was just for both Guardians of the Galaxies, but it said that he made $40 million. Still, all the money in the world, $40 million. And Vin Diesel, I didn't even realize it was Vin Diesel until, like, I think the second movie came out, and maybe it was even after that. It was so long after, so it wasn't like, you know, oh, I'm going to go see the Guardians of the Galaxy because of Vin Diesel. And I'm sure there were some huge Vin Diesel heads that were like, that is why I'm going to see this. I wanted to see it because it looked fun. And it was very fun. And I guess the only real downside of that movie is it seems to be the gate opening, the welcome to Jurassic Park, if you will, that allowed Chris Pratt to become every movie. Hey, are you doing something? Here's Chris Pratt. Like, what? Wait a second. Should he be here? Doesn't matter. He's got the greatest PR firm or whatever, the greatest managers in the world, because he's everywhere. And yes, that's what today's comic is about. This guy playing the lamp in the corner is going to be Chris Pratt, and Milo's going to be all like, yeah, if it's a cartoon, he's in it, whether you want him there or not. I also just read today that they're rebooting Garfield again, which honestly is somewhat upsetting because, hey, I'm trying to do a thing with the cat. Can we stop with that cat? So can we give my cat a chance? I mean, come on now. You already rebooted it and everybody hated it. Then you did a sequel to that reboot and everybody hated it. Even though you had Bill Murray, it was just unwatchable trash. I genuinely, I don't quite remember, but I remember at least trying to watch the first one and just being like, who signed off on this? This is not Garfield. This is terrible. This is insane. And again, like, the CG looked okay, I guess, but story-wise, it still came down to oh yeah, new Taskmaster is coming. Alex Horn started his own streaming service to put it out himself, or you can wait and watch it on YouTube for free. Pretty exciting. But I was surprised that somebody posted on Twitter. I want to say Jim Davis, I believe is his name. Jim Davis's reaction. He was asked about the slap, not the TV show from years ago, but the thing that happened at the Oscars the other night. Because nobody actually cares about the Oscars. It's all about, you know, whatever's going on towards the Oscars, after the who got the drunkest, who got in a fight, who wore something too scandalous, etc. It's never ever about the thing. because it doesn't matter and nobody cares. But when he was asked, what did you think about the slab? Hey, Garfield guy, what's your reaction to it? And his reaction was, I just draw pictures of Garfield. I don't care. And I'm like, wow. Like, two things. Three things? Three things. One, love that reaction. Awesome. Two, oh my god, he's still alive? I thought for sure he died long ago, because whenever I see on Instagram, occasionally, Instagram will be like, check out this Garfield comic from this year. I'm just like, who's writing these? And whoever is writing these, they're not good. They're terrible and just boring. Like, it's that same... I mean, after a while, I don't know, I feel like I did a handful of these with Milo, and I was like, this is stupid. But it is what people enjoy, and sorry, I don't do what people enjoy. I do what I enjoy, and that's why people don't spend $50 million putting my cat in the center of attention. But they're all still the jokes. Again, I still love that he still does it. That's great. He was drawing it on like a Cintiq, like an expensive, much bigger than my screen. Like, he's doing it on a computer too. Like, wow, that's amazing. Like, it just genuinely kind of brightened my day. Other than, oh yeah, it reminded me that well, for a long time now, the Garfield comics have been terrible. It's really only the old ones where Garfield is just genuinely mean. Is the fun ones, because the new ones are always just about, hey John, what are you doing today? I'm just heading out to meet my friend Garfield. Oh, cool. If you go by a food place, bring me food. That's the joke. I like food. Hey, if I need to take a nap, I'm taking a nap. That's the whole comic strip. Ugh. Boring. Uh-oh. But it's hard to come up with ideas. Especially if you don't want to make, commentaries about things in the world, then all that's left is naps and food. That's it. But that is what people love, is naps and food. And then back to the Garfield movie bashing. The fact that it was just like, if it's gonna be pure Garfield, then it has to be about, Garfield just being a lazy jerk that does just want food. And in that one, like, I feel like it was like very early on, like, it's fully just, hey, it's time to get some lasagna or see the neighbor cats or whatever I'm supposed to do. And it's not like the Garfield I'm just gonna saunter over here, taking my time, or find a way to convince the mice to carry me somehow. He's like doing Matrix stuff. It's all, again, what every animated movie does, where it's like, hey, what's been popular for the past 20 years? Let's put that in there. So again, like all the Shrek movies, all of anything with animated characters, the Tom and Jerry movie, where it's just like, how long until they do some breakdancing, till they do a weird rap towards the screen, and they inexplicably do some crazy kung fu that, saves the world. Yeah, which only really works like when Tweety Bird does it. Like, yes, he is the small, demure, quiet character that occasionally bursts out and saves the day, because he's all powerful. But in every single just animated thing, there's just going to be that part where every character gets to be that, gets to be Neo. Like, that's just a thing. And I'm tired of it. Super tired of it. Tired of everything. I've become that old man who's tired of things. And that's just the way it goes. Avocado shake! Like, I didn't watch the new Space Jam. Old Space Jam is still great and terrible in just the right ways. New Space Jam looks, again, no offense to every one of my friends who was animators on it, but story-wise, like, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. It looks amazingly animated. Designs look awesome from back to front. But story-wise, it seems very annoying. And, I love Don Cheadle. He seems like he would be a perfect fun bad guy. I bet if I actually sat down and watched it, I would enjoy it a lot. But, there's so many of those things now that it is just all about jamming as many intellectual properties as the company owns into one of these things. Like, hey, it's an imaginary world anyway, so we can put anything in there. Which I believe, I can't remember. I think I'm mostly just thinking of Wayne's World, but it's like that was the theme to Wayne's World 1 and or 2. I was like, just because you have access to all this stuff doesn't mean you have to. He says as he jams a celebrity into his comic strip. The irony. So much irony. It's like so many spoons when you're just forking around, and it's all kinds of weddings when it's raining on your cloud. It's a free drive when you've paid for an Uber, cause the app already takes the money out, and the guy's like, this one's on me, even though he knows it's already in his account. Something else, it's falling to the ground. Hey, it's ironic. Don't you think? That's so wrong. That's close enough. I think it's close enough. Yeah, horseshoes and hand grenades over here. Close enough, my dog. Close enough. Don't call me your dog, please. Wispy little Chris Pratt mustache and beard. So anyway, yeah. They're rebooting Garfield again. Even though, honestly, in a perfect world, the Garfield voice would be what's his face, who I mentioned before, Bill Murray. Bill Murray is already the perfect Garfield voice, and they did it. I think in both of the movies, John was played by Breckin Meyer. Is that who it was? Again, somebody else who I think is awesome. But I feel he's just too likable to be a John. You kind of gotta hate John a little bit. You just do. John sucks. John sucks. And that's the joke. Speaking of how derivative your comics are of that world, you know, how you're like the one who sucks at these comics and that I'm the great one, just like that? No. 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 Comics are about me making comics and how, yes, you're troublesome, but you're usually trying to do some sort of get-rich-quick scheme, or there's some kind of trouble that you're causing in the world. You think that you deserve that prestige. Whereas Garfield's thing really is about not doing anything. Like, that is his jam, is no. I say no to doing things, and that's the joke. And that's why it works in a 3-panel strip. Whereas in a movie, it's like, no. Like, all of the Garfield books that are out there, there's no overarching story. Whereas the books that I put out about me and Milo, half of it is no overarching story, just these throwaway one-shot 3-panel comics about nothing, and then the overall book is usually about the making of the book itself, and one or both of us being aware that the world that they're in doesn't exist. Not that you couldn't put together or write a good Garfield movie about something. Just nobody ever does. And realistically, it just keeps getting proven by Pixar and Disney, who, I don't know, maybe we're boycotting now because they're evil, but they keep proving. I haven't seen any of the recent movies, but they're all like original stuff or original-ish stuff. I don't know who they stole it from, because they usually do, but that turning red seems like everybody is loving that. It's about new stuff. It's about a new place. It's not just like, hey, here we are in New York once again. Hey, whatever characters we are, we ended up in New York. It doesn't matter. Everything takes place in New York. It takes place in Ontario, in Toronto, down the street from Avocado Shake, probably. As some stories tend to do, it covers, you know, things in oh yes, it's stolen from Teen Wolf. That's where the story is stolen from. But it seems really awesome. Like, Teen Wolf is an awesome story if you're going to steal from something, and I'm sure they own the rights to it to steal it, so go for it. If you own it, then it isn't stealing anymore. It looks good. It's, you know, it's not standard fare. It's you know, it's things that kids do need to know about, or should. Like the fact that everybody's so upset that they just mention the existence of pads in that thing, that it's like, oh my god, you know, we don't live in that world anymore where we're keeping women a secret. Like, they have stuff that's going on, and people should be aware, so you don't become that grumpy old horrible man that's like, the women are doing women stuff again. Like, yeah, you're doing that man thing again. That's super irritating to everybody, not just women. People have to exist, and you have to make caveats. You have to make exceptions. You have to accept the fact that everybody is different in some way, and they have things to deal with. You know, when dudes were here installing the windows, normally I would have helped move some stuff in and out. And I didn't because I have a hernia. And that's okay. And if I say that, they'd be like, oh, of course, you have a hernia. Like, don't pick stuff up. Whereas if a woman was involved, and again, based on how they were talking, which was in no way good, it was all racist and or sexist. But you know, with women stuff, it's just like, ugh. If a woman was like this, because I didn't even mention this thing, when they left, the racist window men, first they stood in my doorway for the longest time, still telling me stories, and I'm terrible for like, yeah, I have a story, as well. So, I don't want to say, I don't even know how to say it without saying it, because it's just mean and racist. Plus I can't exactly remember the words, but he basically stole, well, he did steal, because I've heard this before, and I don't remember ever talking to this guy, and I'm pretty sure it's just some sort of racist joke that I've heard, that he was just telling me. So he was like, oh, like when I was a kid, we had this one teacher who was, I can't remember what he said, but, basically, like, you know, we had a teacher from India, and in my head, I'm just like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're like 50-some years old, and you're from here, so it's just wouldn't have been a thing 50 years ago. There wouldn't have been a man from India teaching in an elementary school here. Like, it was just overrun with white people. And again, the reason that you're so upset, and I run into so many people who are like, oh, these guys, they're going to take over, is because you're not used to having people of different races around, which means that your story from 50 years ago is a lie, because you would have been somewhat used to this by now. But even if you did, I've heard this story before from somewhere else, and I don't remember where, but it's definitely some kind of racist joke. But he just said something along the lines of like, we could get away with anything, like swearing. You could just swear in that class. We could swear as much as we wanted, because he didn't know any of the swear words, so he didn't even know any better. Like, nope. Like, nope. Whatever class you're teaching, he definitely, English wouldn't have been his second language, teaching in an elementary school in the Maritimes. Like, that just doesn't happen, especially 50 years ago. Everyone was too racist for that to have happened. And he said, basically, like, we could say any of the normal swear words that we know, and he wouldn't bat an eye. But if we said, and I can't remember what it was exactly, and I know that this is racist and wrong, but if we said, I can't remember, like, he said, it was so dumb as well, but it was like, if we said abracadabra sandwich or something like that, but I feel like the second word was also something that it was just like, why would you be saying any of these words at all? But if we said that, he'd be like, hey, don't be swearing. So he's like, like, am I right? And I just like stood there like completely shocked, because at this point he was standing in the hallway, and both of my neighbors, there are the police coming because I said that out loud. My neighbors are I don't know where people are from, not gonna presume where they're from, but they are Indian of some kind, or from Pakistan, from I don't know, but they are the they are the people that he's making fun of, that he's making things about, and you can, if you're talking in the hallway, everybody can hear what you're saying through the doorways, and it's just like, wow. Wow. Like, A, of all the things to say, don't say that. And B, of all the places to say it, you're basically standing outside somebody's door saying something that would be racist towards them. And, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? And the answer is they're racist. They're racist. People are racist, and that's what's wrong with them. Case closed. That was an easy, mystery to solve right there. Racism. Just blame it on racism. Blame it on the racism. Yeah, yeah. Because racism don't mind. But the racism kind. Stop. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, I can't remember the other things that they were saying. But I thought of other stuff after the stream where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot they did this, they said that. That's one of the many adventures. I forgot I had some other notes too. I guess I could talk about those if I still have them. I believe I went into detail on that. Talked about that. I think that's it. I think that is all my notes. Unless, let me go back to my buttons here. Did I mention mermaids? I can't remember if I talked about this last week. I don't think I went over with Miles the week before, but if you guys remember anything about me losing my mind about mermaids last week and possibly crushing a little girl's soul, I think I talked about that. I can't remember if I was saving that one or not. The problem with making notes and then not deleting the notes after I've used said notes. But I'll tell it anyway. So the aforementioned Amanda and the aforementioned Tatum, who was drawing a picture at the aforementioned time when they went to the bathroom, and I talked to the other twin for a minute about his streaming heroes and whatnot. So before that, before they went to the bathroom, we're sitting there eating, and Tatum looks to me, and she's like, Curtis, can I ask you a question? I'm just like, of course you could ask me a question. What could this question possibly be? And the question was, are mermaids real? And for some reason, I said no. No, they are not real. They're not real. But I wasn't mean about it. I very quickly went into everything that I do know about mermaids. How there's, pictures that people made that are hoaxes. There's different kind of fish that, if you see them under the surface, they fully look like they have human faces that are peeking out at you. And once you get into the deeper depths, there's all kinds of crazy creatures out there. It's a crazy old world out there. But no, what we know as mermaids, like Little Mermaid style, that's just not a thing. That's something we made up in all of our stories, but it also gives us the ability to make up whatever we want. So go forth, draw, create whatever characters you want to create, be inventive. It's fine. Pokemon are all just based on adorable animals that exist, jammed together with some other adorable animal that exists. And that's what mermaids are. They're just basically, hey, here's fish are real, people are real. What if they were combined to do one thing? I'm pretty sure I did talk about this, the more that I say it. But anyway, she was fully disheartened, super sad. I could just see her lowering in her chair. And Amanda's just like, that is definitely not the answer she wanted to hear. Like, I'm sorry, like, I just watched a thing specifically about how mermaids aren't real. And these are the things that I learned during that video. And then not but 2 days later, I went to this other pawn shop / music store in the middle of town. And the lady that worked there, she's like behind like a glass counter. She's complaining about having to wear masks and whatnot. And as she's telling me that the vaccines are being used to mutate us. They're trying to transform us into something. That's what they're doing. And like, okay. But she still got one anyway because you have to, and it's just like, all right. Like, if I genuinely believed that I was being mutated by the vaccine, then I wouldn't have gotten it. All right, not just because like they're making me. Like, no, that's when you get into like, a 1984, like you become the kid, the main character of a book where it is just like, all right, I am trying to escape the government. I am going to get into a truck and put a stop to this because I don't want to be mutated into a fish person. Or maybe I should, because clearly the world is going to become more water-worldian. So being mutated into a fish person is probably the best thing. So I drifted into talking about, like the sea does have all kinds of things. Octopi are basically just alien beings. Like, they can do anything and everything. They can change shape. They can change color. They can exist anywhere. They can Spider-Man around a building. They're unbelievable. Which, of course, led to her saying something along the lines of, like, I'm weird. I believe in spaceships or whatever, or I believe aliens are real. And I'm like, yep. Universe is gigantic. Of course, there has to be other things out there. Have they been coming and doing stuff to us? Probably not. Maybe, but I doubt it. But yeah. There's definitely stuff on other planets, other galaxies. I'll give you that. And then, yeah, she immediately slipped over to, and mermaids. I believe that mermaids are real. And I just sat there exploding inside, like, well, I gotta leave now. I have to leave now. I don't want to have this conversation anymore. I don't even want to have had any conversation. I wanted to come in, take a little glance around. It's a small store, and then leave. But she clearly was bored and having a long, boring day, and just started talking. And I clearly don't have the ability to not talk. That's why I do a podcast / live stream once, if not twice a week. And my answer for a lot of people a lot of time that I don't say out loud is, just get a podcast. Just go have a podcast. Don't tell me all this stuff. Wait, if people don't want to listen, they can stop listening and walk away. And I just thought it was just the irony. The irony was so Morissettian, where I left and immediately was just like, hey, Amanda, remember how just 2 days ago I destroyed your like 6-7-year-old daughter's belief in the world? Just destroyed her? Remember how I did that? And I felt bad about it? A grown woman with children of her own just basically said the same thing, and I was like, yep. That's the sea for you. Probably ripe with mermaids. They're probably everywhere. I mean, how many people are there's probably some lighthouse workers that are actually, married to mermaids out there, just hanging out with them all the time. Just like Aquaman's dad, who, found a woman washed up on the shore and was like, I'm a fish lady, cool. I love you. You're not even gonna deal with that? Nah. She looks like Nicole Kidman. Come on. Alright then. Everything's weird. So yeah, that... I don't know. Definitely a weird day. A weird week that had happened. But just that, is it even irony? I don't even know. Of... Ugh. Put it on the drawing screen for once? Yeah, maybe let people see what you're drawing instead of looking at your stupid face. You are right. Alright. Can you imagine, though? Getting paid $50 million for one job. Like, even reading through those things where it was just like, oh, like Bradley Cooper gets paid $20 million per movie when I was trying to find out what he got paid for Rocket Raccoon. It's still just like, wow. I mean, those movies do take time, effort, energy. They will make a lot of money because some of these names are attached to them. But there's still a certain level that's just like, wow. Like, through the fundraising at work, raising money for Ukraine relief is almost at $1 million, or it's just over $1 million this week. That like through what the company does, and then like Logitech matching donations and whatnot. And it's just like, wow, like $1 million is a lot of money. To raise over the course of like a month to, you know, to help people rebuild their entire country when the other guy who's attacking the country finally stops trying to destroy them. And then when you just casually read, oh, by the way, this guy Bradley Cooper, who's in some movies, he gets 20 times that amount of money every time he does a job. And, you know, I'm sure he's done more than one movie in a year sometimes. Whereas I'm literally just like, wow. I could definitely make 20 million last the rest of my life and use it to make more money? Like, easily? Like, one thing I really enjoyed about Ben Affleck coming back to be in some of Kevin Smith's movies is the fact that he doesn't get paid the millions and millions of dollars, or at least, you know, when the Kevin Smith movies weren't that big. But I mean, still, like, there's still a reasonably budgeted movie, because it's not a giant epic thing. And it's like, yeah, you're married to J-Lo or whatever now, and you get paid a bajillion dollars a movie. But, you know, I technically kind of gave you your start, put you in a movie when you were just like a punk little actor, and I would like you to reprise this role because we are still friends, and you're going to charge me the friend rate, which is what actors normally get paid to be in a movie like this. Just because you're this huge person, I just won't put you in it if you're gonna, you know, make me pay you $40 million or whatever. Because this movie isn't gonna make $40 million. And Ben Affleck was still in, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and whatnot. And, Clerks 2. And it's just like, wow, like, it shouldn't be that difficult. But of course, I have another strip written that I never drew yet that is about the fact that hey CTK, Ben Affleck doesn't seem to like making movies. I forget exactly what it's about, but it's basically like me or Milo just saying like, hey, can somebody just tell Ben Affleck that he's got enough money that he can do whatever he wants now. Whatever he wants to entertain himself, whatever job he wants to try, whatever hobby, he can do that. He doesn't have to keep forcing himself to be in movies, or if somebody is forcing him to be in movies, like, he doesn't have to. Making movies seems to make him really sad. Like, every interview that you see him in, he clearly doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to talk about the movies. It just seems like the opposite of everything he wants to do. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Harrison Ford seems the same way, where he definitely likes making movies and playing pretend. But he also clearly doesn't like hanging around people. And same deal, it's just like, you're rich enough now that you can literally not only just go and fly helicopters all the time if you want, but even if you're bad at flying helicopters and you keep crashing them into things, you can literally afford to get away with that, because he has. And so just do that. Of course, I don't know, helicopter fuel and paying off people that you've crashed into, or their homes, or whatever, I'm sure is a lot of money. But there's got to be a way that he could just properly invest that money. and not have to be in movies that, once again, he clearly hates. Like, he hates Star Wars. He wanted to be killed off in Star Wars. Maybe he enjoyed being Indiana Jones? I don't know. But he definitely seems like... acting is a laborious slog for him to do. But I don't know. Maybe one of these books I'll finish up, I'll sell 1 million copies, and then I can retire to a life of just making comic strips and stop motions whenever I feel like it. But I don't know, I'm sure it's like any job. Easy to get excited. You know, the amount of time somebody's like, ooh, I got an idea. Like, oh, cool, I'm on board. Let's do that project. And then once you get into it, you realize, oh yeah, I usually end up having to do all the stuff. Or it doesn't get done. So, you know, I try pretty hard to avoid doing stuff with people, especially if it's their idea. Because I already have plenty to do. And I've gotten really tired of doing other people's homework. And I could see how, you know, especially in the movie world where it is presented like there's a meeting or your manager or whatever is like, come on, Harrison, this thing's gonna be a big deal. You're gonna have a great time. You get to pretend to be this thing. Like, And maybe, yeah, you get really excited about it. Like, oh, wow. And I'm sure in, like, Ben Affleck's case, a lot of times it is like, hey, if you do this movie, then we will, you know, we'll fund your next project or whatever. Your next movie can be a Sony movie, and we'll pay for it, and you can do whatever you want. You get to write your own movie, which I believe is the Ben Affleck system. Is like, yeah, I do a big movie for a studio, whether I want to be in it or not. They pay me a huge pile of money, but then I usually get a deal to do another movie that's mine, and then, you know, the he can make The Town or whatever other movies he makes, where he doesn't even have to be in them. He just, you know, I came up with a story, or I hired a cool writer that I like, and I got to make this movie. But just basically comes down to that weird interview portion where it's like, some people seem like they just really don't want to do this thing. And as I say this, I fully just suddenly realize, yeah, of course. That makes complete sense. I've worked on a good handful of TV shows that I 100% hated working on. I would never want to work on them again. Now, experience-wise, like, it was a good time, like, meeting friends and stuff, like, it was great. But these particular shows, they didn't really lead to, like, hey, now you can afford to do whatever you want. It was just a job. So in the end, it wasn't really worth anything more than doing this job. But I am, you know, again, I'm not the Ben Affleck of animation. I don't get to be like, hey, I want to do this. And then people are just like, wow, we can't wait to do this with you. I just have to take jobs that exist. But yeah, there was definitely a lot where I'm just like, do I even want to do animation? Do I even like making TV shows? This is awful. The only thing to make shows for are kids, and now there's like tons of like grown-up TV or animated shows that I also don't really watch. Other than I did sit down and watch Inside Job, and I'm gonna be completely honest. The only reason I actually was like, oh, I think I will watch this show, was because I realized Andy Daly did a voice, if not a bunch of voices on it. So I was like, well, I'll give it a try, see what that's all about. And it's fantastic. It's on Netflix. It's so good. It's very Rick and Morty. It's different enough from Rick and Morty that it feels like a nice, fun, different show about like crazy conspiracies that go way beyond and the animatedness. It almost feels like just a crazier animated Space Force, which I also think is one of the greatest shows. Again, mostly just because Ben Schwartz is in it. But Inside Job, for the most part, I'm like, okay, it's not a Rick and Morty ripoff. It's really interesting and it's really well put together. It's really clever. It's really funny. Christian Slater plays Rick, who is basically Rick. At first, he's like, hey, he's just like an old drunk guy. But after a while, I'm like, oh, this guy is fully Rick. And Morty is also Rick. I can't remember the daughter's name, but the voice is good. It's I can't remember her name, but she's in a lot of stuff, and she's awesome too. But like all the voices are great. There's a bunch of awesome people that do voices. Andy Daly does a ton of voices. Oh yeah, I only need 5 more subscribers, then I can change the name to my YouTube channel, Making Skeletors. People love that, so definitely gonna have to make sure to try to do a new Skeletor every week. Which this is the first week I've failed on that. But I don't know. I'll get it done at some point. All right. What did I do? Didn't finish writing this in? But yeah, in the end, I was kind of excited to have a show to watch. Like, all right, but It went by real quick. Like, I feel like I watched the whole series in a morning. I don't know if maybe it was only like 6 or 7 episodes. But, yeah, turned out animation was real nice. I didn't expect keep watching it, but I was hooked pretty quickly. It doesn't feel like a Rick and Morty ripoff. It just kind of feels like it's in that universe. I can't remember if I think Justin Roiland might be part of the production staff on it as well. I actually can't remember, but anyway, I know the people that make it are awesome. Bunch of great voice actors, and yeah, Chris Pratt isn't a voice in it. Because why would he be? Why does he keep being the voice of things? Nothing makes sense. You know, he makes all the money. He makes all the money for things, whether you can see him or not. It seems like you should have to see him before he becomes a money-making part of the show. Well, that's just how it goes. But you have the greatest managers in the world. What's your manager like? Do you have a manager? I don't have a manager. I actually saw recently a post of a local artist that was like on the news, I think. I can't remember if it was the news or a newspaper or an article. Where I'm just like, what? What? Why are you suddenly in the news over here? And within the post, she actually wrote like, hey, thanks to like my great PR person, who happens to be my mom. Basically, my mom called the news and got me on the news for being, you know, doing my art stuff. Where we're like, oh yeah, I guess that is how it works. Somebody or you have to like specifically say, hey newspaper, I'm awesome. Do a story about me. But like I said, this weekend actually, yeah, I got to do an interview with Russo Draws for his blog. That should be pretty fun. And I don't know, it should be an interesting week or two. But save that for next week. There was something else I don't remember now. But anyway, also do another live stream Friday at Streamlabs, which is pretty exciting, because definitely way more than 4 people show up, and I just ramble on and draw, and it's a great time. And occasionally, some of those people spill over, and that is why between Streamlabbing and Skeletorn, yeah, why my YouTube channel has almost got 100 subscribers, and if you're watching this later on any other channel, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Links are at MrCurtoons.com and in my Instagram and Twitter bio. But yeah, this is this week's comic. I'm gonna call it "Everyone is Chris," and then I'm just like, hey, is that Chris Pratt? And Milo's like, yes, of course it is. He's playing your lamp. And I'm like, why? Why is Chris Pratt in my cartoon living room? And Milo's just like, he's in every cartoony thing now. It's the law. It's the law? Also, raptors are friendly, lovable ninjas now. Because, you know, that's what Jurassic Park is about now. Our friends, the velociraptors. Yeah, let's change that to this. Is that Chris Pratt? Yes, of course it. He's playing your lamp. Oh no, I already said that. Yeah, let's leave it the way it is with the law. Keep it as is. Keep it as is. I think that's good for today. I think that's good for today. We made a comic strip from beginning to end. We complained about rich people having all the money. And wishing we could get paid $20 million to do one job. Yeah, I think that's about it. Earlier on, I did a little tour of the room and all the changes. But yeah, also because I've set up the stop motion area right over here. It's nice and close. That oh, that's the microphone. That I should be able to now. The reason this camera is even plugged in was to test whether or not I could do stop motion on stream without it being a huge issue, because this is the camera that I use to stop motion with. So in theory, I'll be able to show my stop motion screen and also show the wider picture of me doing stuff, and then hopefully I don't get too caught up in talking, and I can just listen to some music and do some stop motioning. But because I talk with my hands so much, it does make it hard to finish a project or really focus, which is why I do most of the stuff outside of a stream. I get more done faster. But yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun. It was one of the things I was trying to set up for a while ago, and it was like, I just don't know how this is possible. But yeah, there's a little more room in this room than I thought there was, and so far so good. So thirsty, like I should. Chris Pratt picture. But yeah, that's about it. Other than I did some slight updating to the website as well. Not a whole lot, just adjusted some things so that in most places now it says that the live stream is Tuesdays at 7 instead of the old time, so that I'm not exhausted, and I can just kind of jump into doing a stream. Reset everything up. Forgot to turn this light back over here, so that everything is a little more modular, a little more easy to just jump into stuff. It's not a bunch of setup like it was before, and all of the chords are more organized than they've ever been in the history of computer chords. Today's juice is brought to you by spinach, carrot juice, a lemon, some raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries, a banana, and some hemp hearts for protein and fiber and all kinds of other stuff that is in there. I think that's all that I jammed in here today. And some other kind of juice so that it doesn't taste like carrot juice. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we covered all of the things that we need to cover. I feel like I could say some more things. No, I think we're good. That's it for tonight. Sometimes if I can rough out or if I can plan out more of the other book, we'll do some longer streams as well, where I'm just actually getting some work done on the other book of me and Milo fun in between going back to these more individual stripped comics. And yeah, I guess that's it. Guess that's it. I'm also still here. Does anybody want to talk to me? No, we're fine. Froze up for a minute, but that's okay. I think nobody needs to hear from Batman. I don't need to hear from Batman. That graveliness ruins my night. But yeah, see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. How dare you use my thing? Well, I'm saying you just said you don't want to hear from me, and then you say it's the same bat time, same bat channel. That's not fair. Yeah, sucks to be you, Batman. Ripley! Hey, sweetest angel. Let's play the new, slightly changed outro credits. And then yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. Meow, 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 meow.